Hi everyone, it's Jean Bobish here from A Stroke of Genius. I've been looking on Pinterest a lot lately, and I've been seeing a lot of these dress type cards, which I think are really pretty, and I decided that I would like to try it for myself. Now, most of the ones that I've seen online call for store-bought doilies. Well, naturally, when I went to make mine, I didn't have any. I know I have some here somewhere. Where they are, that's a whole nother question. I didn't feel like ripping the whole place apart to try and find them. So I looked through my dies and I found this very pretty doily die that I had. Now, it's Top Dog is the brand, and it's called the Madison Doily. Now, unfortunately, this company went out of business. Fortunately for me, I got this die at a really great price, but it was a really nice size, and I liked how lacy it was, and I liked the design that it cut out. So I decided to give that a try and use as my dress. The next thing I used was, I just got this new Spellbinder all stitched up die set, which includes these 4 dies here. This is another set here called Sewing Elements. Now, I had a dress form die, but it was kind of blah and I didn't really like it. But when I got this one, I really fell in love with it because I liked the bottom of it and how pretty and feminine it was. So I decided that that was what I was going to use for my dress form. So the first card I made was this really pretty pink one, and I adhered a lot of pearls on it, made it very feminine. The other thing that I did differently than some of the other gals is I used tulle. It's like the netting in wedding veils, if you're not familiar with it. I use that with my dresses, and I put it inside as like a little slip. It's probably hard to see, but it's there. And I adorned my doily with pearls and gave little pearl necklace and lots of flowers. Another neat thing I discovered going through this process was how I was able to chalk my embossed image. And I also did that on this purple one. Now, the purple one I just did, and that one I used crystals instead of pearls, and I think it just turned out luscious. And you can see that I used the same technique for inside of the card so that the inside is just as pretty and decorative as the outside. I really like doing that. I think it adds a little bit something to the card, a little bit extra. But anyway, I thought these would be awesome for like a Sweet 16 birthday card, or maybe for your bridesmaids. They could be made up in whatever colors your wedding is or their dresses are, and give them to the bridesmaids. And next, I had to make an all-white one. I've never made an all-white card before, but I just love them when I see them online. So this one I did all white and pearls. And this time I put the tulle on the top and underneath to give it a more of a wedding gown look. And I thought that just turned out so pretty. Now I'm going to show you how to make this card with an even different technique. I haven't made one yet. I'm going to make it with you. But oh my goodness. Well, let me show you. I did this background. This is the same background that's on this white card, but I was able to emboss it with glitter in the flat areas. The raised areas are just the plain white, but look at how beautiful. I don't think it's going to show up on camera as beautiful as it really is, But look at that. So I want to make another one with that and clear crystals. And that's what I'll be making with you. But first, I wanted to show you how I did these backgrounds. I'm going to set this card aside. And I embossed myself an extra panel. This is the one I used for the bridal card, which is a damask design. I never know how to pronounce that. But let me grab my chalks here. And I have these Pebbles pearlescent chalks, and I got them at a yard sale. And they're really pretty nice because they have like a little shimmer to them. And the chalk is not anything special, but I think that this applicator might be something you've never used before. And it's relatively inexpensive. This is a whole bag of children's fun foam marshmallows. They come in 2 sizes. This is the smaller size. You can get them at the children's crafts section of your craft store. And they're really nice because they're really dense and they have a really flat bottom. And I have a whole bunch of them, and you see how each container is 2 colors. Well, I'll use one color on one side, the other color on the other, and then I'm just going to stick these all in a container and keep them with my chalks. And when I bring out my chalks, I'll have all my applicators right there that can be used over and over again. So let me show you what I did. I took my little marshmallow and I stuck it in my chalk and got it good and chalky. Now this really works. The busier the design is, the better it works. And all you're going to do is just rub your marshmallow, holding it flat against your paper. You're not really pressing very hard because you're just like skimming the top. And what's really awesome about this is, if I can get it up there so you can see, you don't get any shadowing. And if you do, it's very, very light. The background stays really, really white. And just your raised image gets colored. Now, isn't that pretty? And it's something different. I know a lot of you have inked your embossing folders, as I have done, and that gets your ink in the background and keeps the raised image white. And this gives you a little opposite effect. I'm looking, I had another piece, oh here it is, that I wanted to show you. I did a pink paper with pink chalk, and look at that, it's tone on tone. Isn't that pretty? So I'm really excited about this. I'm sure I didn't invent it, but I'm really loving these little marshmallows. And like I said, they work fantastic and give a nice even coverage. So I just wanted to share that with you. I'm going to get this stuff out of the way and we're going to get busy making our cards. Now these are an A2 card, so we're going to start with an A2 base. Get all my stuff out here. An A2 white card base. Next, I'm going to take, I'm going to get these all out of the way here so we don't get confused. This is my card base. I have a piece of my white paper that is cut the same size as my card, the 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I have a punch, which, where did I put it? Oh, right in front of my face. I have this punch that I bought at a flea market, and I didn't realize that actually it's for photo corners. And let me show you, make sure I have my paper, not my card. I'm going to punch this out, and what it does is it punches a place for your photo to sit underneath. And I thought it made a really pretty corner effect. So I'm going to just continue, make sure I'm doing them all from the back here, and punch out all 4 corners. Now if you're doing a colored dress or card and you want your inside to be decorated, you're going to do 2 of these in your colored paper. Okay, so there we have our corners all punched out. The next thing I'm going to do, because I don't want this to be the exact size as the top of my card, I'm going to go to my paper trimmer and I'm going to trim 1/8 of an inch all the way around, which I have already done right here. And that will give us a mat on our card. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of paper that is, here we go, 3 3/4 by 4 7/8. And we're going to take our embossing folder and get our embossing machine here. And for this one I'm using, it's called Mementa, and it doesn't have a name on it, but I know for a fact that this is Damask or Damask. I never know how you're supposed to pronounce it. Now what you want to do is you want to pick the side that is flatter. And I'm going to take my Versamark ink and my brayer. I'm going to get my brayer really loaded well, and I'm going to get that ink all over this side of the folder. And I'm going to really go over it a couple times because I really want this to get on my paper. Okay. All right. I'll put this away, and the next thing I'm going to do is place my paper on here, and this is how we're going to get that awesome glittered background. And I'm going to run it through my Cuddle Bug. Yeah. Oh. Okay, there we go. I'm going to take it out. And you can see that the black sections are inked. So I'm going to set that aside. We're going to have to wash that, and I'm going to get out my glitter. Now this is Whispers brand clear glitter holographic embossing powder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle that all over my card, making sure I get it everywhere. You don't want to miss any places. And I'm going to take where my thumb is and go over that spot so that I don't miss any. Tap off the extra. I'll put this out of my way, and then I'm going to get my heat gun. Get this extra powder off of here, out of my way. Okay, now I have my heat gun. Pardon the noise, but I'm going to heat it up. And then I'm going to emboss this, being really careful not to burn myself because this gun gets really hot. And I like to let it get warmed up for a few seconds first. Then I'm going to come down and I'm going to start embossing that, and you can see and watch that glitter just melt. Oh my goodness, is it beautiful? It is just so pretty. You want to make sure you get it all melted, but you don't want to burn it. You can tell, you'll be able to tell because it gets kind of glassy, like it's melting, which actually it kind of is. Okay, I think that's good. And there we have this, oh, absolutely gorgeously shimmering piece of embossed paper. So we're going to go back to our card and our little frame that we made and trimmed, and we're going to take and place our paper under these corner flaps like so. And think how pretty this would be for Christmas. Oh, if you had a background like this for Christmas. Oh my goodness, that would be gorgeous. Okay, and we want to get it centered there. Now the thing, these little tiny corner pieces, I know are supposed to fit under the corner of the paper. So you might have to work a little bit to get that where you want it. But what I usually do is put a gem or a rhinestone or something over there to cover it up. I want to get it centered well on my mat, and then I'm going to, I got that embossing stuff everywhere, I'm going to adhere it to my base card, and I want to make sure that I got my card going the right way. And there we have it. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my goodness. So pretty. Now the next step is we're going to work on our dress. Now I have 3 pieces of tulle, whatever you call it. I'm going to call it netting. And actually I cut this out on my Cuttlebug. What I did was I lined up several layers, like about 6 layers, and I chose a circle die that was slightly larger than my doily die, and I ran it through. I needed to use my metal shim in order to get it to cut all the layers, but I don't know if you can see, but it's slightly larger than my doily. And the Cuttlebug cut it perfectly. As long as there was enough and as long as I had my metal shim, I didn't have any problem. Now here's my doily all cut out, and it really is such a pretty little doily. Now what I want to do, and you have to look at your doily, you have to look at the design. Now this one is kind of actually like a square design, and I wanted to make sure that when I folded it, that it came out even. And this pattern has like a point, 2 scallops, a point, 1 scallop, a point, 2 scallops, a point, 1 scallop. So I picked the middle scallop, and by that I folded toward the back. You want your fold to go toward the back. I folded it against these flowers, and then I took the other side and folded it the same way, so that I have the same design and it is as equal as it possibly could be. You might have to finagle with it a little bit, but I think that's about as close as we're going to get. Now, I know a lot of the dresses on the internet use the folded part as the front of the dress, which is pretty, but I kind of wanted this to be a long gown, so I wanted to leave it with the long side in the front. Now, of course, we have this hangover, which we don't need, so I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut that off and get rid of that. Now, I'm going to take 2 pieces of my netting for the petticoat, and I'm going to place it in here, and what I'm going to do is put some adhesive here to hold it in place. Whoops. Okay. Line these up again. Try to get them somewhat in the middle, but I just want a little bit of the netting to show underneath the dress. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut off this section up here that we don't need and get rid of that. Then the next thing I did was add more adhesive. Oh no, we don't want to do that just yet. I'm sorry. Ignore that. The next thing I did was I just folded it, and I had to hold it up to my mannequin, which I cut out on my Cuttlebug, and I wanted the bottom of the skirt, I didn't want it to hang too far below our mannequin's base, which this is doing, so I may have to adjust it slightly and bring in my sides. This is kind of a trial and error thing with this particular doily. But when it's done, I think it's worth the effort. Okay, now I can see the little legs underneath there. So that's good. Now I'm going to take my pencil, make sure she's in the middle. I'm lining up the pole of the legs of this with the middle scallop, and I'm going to pull it up just a little bit more, and I'm going to draw a line where her waist is. Okay. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut right across there. And that makes my skirt, like so. You see the little tool? Alright, now we're going to take the other piece of tulle, and I want to put that on the top, and again fold it over, so that it's somewhat even with the underneath tulle. And then I'm going to cut off all of this excess because we don't need it. It's just going to get glued behind there. Okay, try and neaten that up. Now, I'm going to open this up. This piece, okay, anything you think you need to tack down, do it now. Oh, I see what happened. That got glued over there. So I'm going to put some more glue here just to hold that. Okay. And I have this little piece of paper here that I want to cut off. That we don't need that. The back, it doesn't matter about the back because that's going to get glued to our card. So it's you don't have to worry too much about it. So the next thing I'm going to do is line this up on her waist, like so, and fold it over, and apply lots of glue, and And then fold this piece over. And there we have our little dress. More glue for that netting. Okay. We have our little dress. And any paper or anything that's too big, just trim it. And the thing I like about this, using a stiffer paper, is you can kind of bend it and have her dress flare out and be a little more three-dimensional, which I think is kind of pretty. Now we have to do her bodice. And for that, I used this Doris scalloped heart, the littlest one. And what I did was I lined it over the lacy edge of my doily and cut it out so that you had an even symmetrical image. And when I did that, I got a heart, and you'll hold it up to the mannequin right about where you think it would sit. Get it centered, and then you're going to trim the excess off, even with the dress form. And that will be your bodice. And then all you have to do is take some glue and glue this in place, tucking that little tail of the heart down under her skirt. Like so. And get it right where you want it. And just hold that in place while it dries. Okay. It doesn't show up too much in the lights, but in person it looks really pretty. Now if you do this on a colored piece of paper, you're going to want to put a white heart underneath, because otherwise it'll look like it's a peekaboo top, because you'll see the whatever color your dress form is shining through. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some crystals, and I want to make a little necklace for her. So I'm just going to put 3 dots of this adhesive, and this is clear tacky glue that I'm using. And then I'm going to just pick up, hopefully, a crystal and just set it in place around her neck. And if you don't want to use crystals, of course, you can use the pearls like I used in my other card. Yeah, come on, Jane. Sometimes I find if I put a little bit of glue on the side of my tweezers, I can pick things up a little easier. So let's see if I have any more luck. And there we have her little diamond necklace. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, I have some white ribbon, and we want to put the sash around her dress and cover up where our bodice and skirt match. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on here and set it so it's overlapping her skirt and her bodice. And then I'm just going to tack it here to the back. Like I said, this doesn't get seen, so it's no big deal. I'm going to put some on her gown, and I want to decide whether I want it on on the outside of the tool or underneath. So just for the heck of it, I'm going to lay one on here on top, and then I'm going to put one underneath and see what the difference is. And I'm already thinking that they got to be underneath because of the tool. So yes, let's put them underneath. So I'm just going to pull this out of my way. And I'm trying to think where I want to put them. So I'm going to put them between each scallop. And now you can get as crazy or as simple as you want with decorating your gown. I mean, you could go in the middle of each one of these little flowers and circles and really get carried away. Or you can just do like I'm doing and leaving it very simple. I have such a heck of a time with these darn crystals. Okay, let's put some more out. But they do make it look really pretty. Okay. It's not a hard card to make. It's just a little tedious. All the little details. Okay, and I think that's all I'm going to put on mine for now. You can see how they're sparkling. It's a shame it doesn't show up as well on camera as it does in person. Pull our tool back down, and we're going to let that dry. And while that dries, I'm going to keep my crystals, and we're going to make our flowers. I'll set that aside. I'm going to bring over all my little flowers, which I've already made most of them. And what I used for my flowers was this Martha Stewart, and I believe this is the hydrangea punch. But anyway, I just punched out a ton of these in white, and I've already assembled a lot of them. I don't know how many I need or want, but this way, whatever I don't use, I can put in a little container and use them on a future project. So basically, I took 2 of the larger petals and just glued them together, like crisscrossed, like so. Whoops. Like so. And then, when it was dry, I took my ball stylus and I just went in a circular motion in the center. And that brought the petals up and made it look a little bit more like a flower. And then I took one of my little crystals here and just added some glue in the center and plopped a crystal in. And then let it dry. And I did the exact same thing with the teeny flowers. I just glued one on top of the other. When it was dry, took my little stylus, and these make the cutest like little cup flowers. And then I take a crystal and some glue and just apply this to the center, like so. And now I have, oh no, I have to do my bigger flowers. And now this isn't really a rose, but it's one of these twisty flowers. And what I did is on the back of the flower, I've done most of this after I die cut it out. Oh, and this was the Spellbinders Bitty Blossoms die, and I used the smallest die for these three flowers. And I'm taking my stylus and I am just going across the back of each one of these petals so they kind of curl up towards me. And now remember, this is the back side of the flower. And I've done most of it. I'm just going to finish it off. Then I'm going to turn it front ways facing, and I'm just going to make a cup out of this section here. Then I'm going to take my quilling tool, and it has a little slot in it, and I'm going to slide this on there and just start to twirl. And as I'm twirling, I'm pinching because I don't want all my petals to line up behind each other like little soldiers. I want them to alternate on their way around. So I just keep pinching and twirling all the way around. Until I get to the end. And I'm going to pop it off and line up the bottom so that they're as even as they can be. And then I'm going to take this little cup that we made and I'm going to fill it with glue. And I find hot glue is the best because it dries quickly and your flower doesn't have time to unwind and kind of do its own thing. So I'm just going to kind of hold it in place here until it glues. And that's our bigger flower. And then you could take your fingernails or whatever and play with the petals till you get it to look how you want it to look. Okay, so I have 3 of those. And then I have some mediums and some small. Oh my goodness, I just dropped all my crystals. Push them out of the way. Okay, now the next thing is we're going to assemble our card. So I'm going to take what we already have done, make sure that my card is facing the right way, and I'm going to take some hot glue and I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on this base to hold it down, and then glue up the rest of this and center it on the front of my card. Okay, push it down, push down the base and the back of the dress. Now I like to leave the top of the dress unglued because you can shape it a little bit and it stands out. See, it's like 3-dimensional. Isn't that cool? I think it's so pretty. Now I'm going to take one of my tiniest little flowers. Let me get these back in the picture here. I'm going to take one of my tiniest little flowers and put the tiniest little bit of hot glue, and I'm going to glue that right on her belt. And then I'm going to come down in this lower corner and I'm going to place my 3 largest flowers in the center, and I'm going to kind of nudge them, nestle them, I guess would be a better word, up against each other. And then I'll take my third one and do the same thing. Kind of make a little cluster of the large flowers. And then we'll start working with the medium flowers. I'm going to stick one in the front here. Just want to keep your tool out of the way, your netting. You can use your stylus or your tweezers or whatever to hold it down till it glues. And then I'm going to work my way up the side of the card and across the bottom. Like so. And maybe I'll add another one. Let's put it down here. Put these like together. And you can get in there and, there we go, adjust your petals however you want. Get all these strings. One of the bad things about hot glue is all them nasty strings. Now I'm going to take these teeny weeny ones and just kind of fill in wherever I think I need a little bit more bling. Kind of make them so they're trailing up the side of the card. And we'll put some over here. To put some in the front there. Add some more bling. I'll put one under here. I never know how many it's going to take. It just depends on how they lay and how you think they look at the time. And I think I'm liking that. But I need a few more. Get rid of these strings. I hate the strings. I love hot glue, but I hate the strings. I'm going to push this one up in here. And I thought I got two more. Well, I might as well use them up. So I'll put one here. And one straggler right here. Yeah, I think that looks pretty. They look so dark on camera, but if you could really see them sparkling, it's really pretty. Now I'm going to take, I think I'll take one crystal and put in each corner. Put some glue. Tell you what, I learned patience playing with these things, I'll tell you. They're enough to drive a sane person crazy. One thing I want to mention, when you're doing white cards, you want to make sure you're using the same brand of white paper and the same color throughout. Different companies, their whites look totally different. Some look more grayish, some might have like a bluish tint to them. White is not standard white. So be aware of that if you're using scraps of paper. If you're like me, I buy a lot of paper on sale, and depending on what store it is, it could be a different brand, so it's not the same. So that's one thing that you want to be aware of when you're doing like a white on white card, because that would ruin, that one got away from me, that would ruin your beautiful card if you had some yellowed white in there, or gray white, or whatever. So there we go. Finally. And there you have it. Our beautiful wedding card, all done, with a few couple techniques for doing our background embossing. So I hope you enjoyed this project and maybe learned something new, and we'll maybe give one of these a try. They're fun to do and really pretty when they're done. See you next time.